Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for February the 19th. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy. After that, we'll be pulling one card for each sign. You do want to stick around and hear about overall energy. Sometimes that's a multi-layered thing, sometimes it's not. But you want to be able to have that information as you're looking at your card that comes up for your sign, and I start to interpret that. That way you can follow a little bit more about why I'm getting what I'm getting. If you're interested in that, I guess. Maybe some people are interested in learning about the cards as we go through. Maybe some people are not. All right, so just waiting for overall energy. Sometimes she kind of pops out here, especially with a bigger deck like this. So far, we don't have that happening. Just going to go ahead and pull the card. Boop, ba da doo doo. So our overall energy comes up as, what is this? That's the Queen of Cups coming up in reverse. These cards are kind of big, but you're not missing much there. I may have to slide that over a little bit more just to make room for everybody else. All right, so Queen of Cups coming up in reverse. And then we're going to look next at our card for Aries. Okay. All right, so Aries, what do you have coming up here? You have these Six of Pentacles with our Queen of Cups coming up in reverse. This is interesting, Aries, because what you've got here is you have a situation where you've done something for somebody, and it was with the understanding that they would be paying you back, that this will be a reciprocal situation. And what you have here is this person saying, whoa, 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 whoa. This person is saying, I don't think I'm going to pay for that. Like, I don't know what their reasoning is, but they definitely don't feel like they should have to pay for whatever it is that you've done for them. And they are going to be having a volcanic emotional explosion over this. So they're going to be reacting to not only whatever's going on right now, but also to things that have been going on with the same flavor for a while, whether you did them or whether somebody else did them in the past. So it's going to feel like a huge overreaction. It's really a residual reaction to a whole lot of stuff coming out. But this is not the kind of thing that you really want to be on the line of fire on. So if somebody starts to have this reaction, you may want to step back a minute and let them wind themselves down before you try to talk to them, because they're in a truly emotional space right now where logic is not going to be the thing that wins the day until they can feel like they've wound down and calmed down. And it might take a while, just warning you. All right, let's move on. Good luck, Aries. Let's move on to Taurus. King of Wands. All right, Taurus, very similar to Aries. I think you've got a Queen of Cups showing up here in reverse, which just means you've got somebody who is having this huge volcanic reaction to some things that have been going on in their lives for a long time, which you may or may not have had anything to do with. That's going to depend. It's going to be different for every case. This person that's having this volcanic explosion is somebody who normally is very lighthearted, very positive, very outgoing. Somebody who's very sunshiny and optimistic. So I think whenever they have this explosion, I don't know if you're actually going to have the front seat on it, Taurus. You may not. I think a lot of you will not. I think even just witnessing this, though, it's such a big change for how this person's normal behavior is that it's going to really set you back a little bit. It's going to have you thinking about this. All right. Next up, we're looking at Gemini. I don't think I explained overall energy here today. Oh, well. I guess I'll explain it 12 times now. Gemini, King of Cups. Showing up opposite that Queen of Cups, very similar actually to what Taurus is experiencing. I think that you Geminis are going to be watching somebody who is very emotionally balanced normally and very much in control of their emotions on a normal basis, is having a volcanic explosion about something. And it's going to seem like overreaction when you're looking at it, but it's really not even close to overreaction. It's just that they've put up with something so many different times, so many different ways, on so many different occasions, and not said anything. Now they're reacting to all of it. All of it. Okay, so explosive emotional reaction from somebody who's normally in control of their emotions. Going to be, like I said, for Taurus, going to be very um, shocking, I think is the word that I want here. Shocking to see. And also similar to Taurus, I'm not sure if you're going to have the front row seat for this. A few of you will, but I don't think that most of you are going to be like in the blast zone. I think you're just going to be witnessing from the sidelines for the most part. There, I have to say, there's a few of you that you're going to be the one that sets the trigger, and you'll catch the blast if you do. All right, next up, let's look at Cancer. Cancer. Knight of Swords coming up here. Are we going to have all court cards? How many court cards do we have? It's possible. It's possible. Did we have any that's not a court card yet? Yes, the first one for Aries. Okay. All right. It's possible the rest of these guys could be court cards. All right, okay, let's look at Cancer. Knight of Swords showing up here across from our Queen of Cups in reverse. Cancers, you've got somebody in your sphere of influence who normally is very logical. They like to think things through. Once they've decided on something, they take action quickly, but they do like to make sure everything makes sense before they take action. And today you're seeing them have an emotional, volcanic-sized explosion. This is especially tough for a person like this because they're used to having logic in charge. And so when they become emotional and have this type of explosion, they feel like they're out of control. Pretty much anybody does with this type of explosion, but they especially feel that because they're not used to operating in this space where feelings are running the game. And so that's going to make them feel that much more unstable and anxious, and it's rough. It's really rough for them. So let's see, who was this? This was Cancers. So Cancers, I think that as you're witnessing this, I don't feel like it's you. Once again, I just don't feel like it's you having this explosion. But I feel like as you're witnessing this from this other person, it's so unlike them that it's really going to have you thinking about this situation. And I think, Cancers, it's going to have you being very proactive about what you can do to make sure that that this person does not feel the need to explode like this again. Okay, that's a typical water sign response to something like that, honestly. All right, let's look at Leo. Leo. Seven of Pentacles. Once again, has to do with payday. I think Aries had to do with some pay as well. That's funny. So fire signs both so far having to do with pay. Boop-a-doo-doo. Going to be interesting to see what shows up for Sagittarius now. Okay, Leo's Seven of Pentacles with that Queen of Cups unreversed. I think you've got somebody who's in your sphere of influence. I don't think it's you, but I think there is somebody in your sphere of influence who is having a volcanic emotional eruption over payday today. Okay, so it's something about payday. Whether somebody deducted too much from their check didn't show up. It's hard to imagine a volcanic emotional explosion over the check being twice the amount it should be, but maybe that's going on in rare occurrences. You never know. But you've got somebody in your sphere of influence who's kind of losing their stuff over a payday today. All right, let's look next at Virgo. Four of Cups coming up in reverse. This is really interesting, Virgos. I'm going to say, you're the first sign I've had to say this for so far. But Virgos, it looks to me like you are probably the person who is having a volcanic emotional meltdown / explosion. This is the kind of emotional explosion that really freaks people out. They're not just used to seeing you like this, and even if they are, this is a big deal. This is not just giving somebody a dirty look. Okay, no, this is a lot bigger than that. And so I think it is going to have some people kind of with their eyes wide as this happens. Now, Generally, the emotional explosion doesn't come up because something happened today. Generally, it comes up because you've been dealing with something and trying to pretend that it's okay for a long time. And today, it's just the cherry on top of the cake that happens. All right. So we see you having this volcanic emotional explosion. And after you have this volcanic emotional explosion and you sort of wind down, it looks to me like you're learning something from whatever the situation was that caused that explosion. Because here we see you dealing with a disappointment and we see you saying, you know what, I'm not letting this slow me down. I'm focusing on the opportunities that are in front of me and moving forward. Now, if we can shortcut to here without having the volcanic emotional explosion, that might help us to move forward with our opportunities, because if we explode too hard or at the wrong people, then that can burn some bridges before we even get to this other opportunity. So I don't know if you're going to be able to control this or if it's going to just come on you. Ideally, we would be able to feel something like this coming and walk out of the room. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility or able to make that happen, but definitely, okay, Spirit's acknowledging there has been something disappointing here, and this allows you to like look at this from a different perspective and go, wow, I've been trying to pretend this is okay for how long now? It's obviously not okay. It's not working. What am I going to do now? Where do I go from here? And we see you starting to take action towards wherever it is you want to go from here. All right. So who was that? That was, yeah, Virgo. That is very unusual for Virgos. Just saying. All right. Next, let's look at Libra. Excuse me. Libra is showing up with the Magician coming up in reverse. Libras, this feels very much like this is you also having this explosion, similar to Virgo. You are having an emotional outburst that is volcanic sized because something's been going on for a while. You've been trying to pretend it's okay. It is not. And somebody just put the last straw on the camel's back, and so you basically lost it. And I'm going to say that the reason that you're losing it is because there's something that you're trying to move forward with. You're trying to make progress with, and you're feeling like you're beating your head against the wall. And so I'm going to say, even with looking at this Magician card in reverse, it may not even be somebody else who triggers this. It may just be you getting really emotionally upset about this idea that I'm trying to accomplish this and nothing seems to be happening. And that may be really bugging you. And it's probably been going on for a very long time for you to have this kind of meltdown over it. Here's the key, though. Whatever this is that's causing this meltdown where you feel like you're not making any progress, you got to remember, ask Spirit to get involved in the situation. Ask Spirit to come in for the assist. They are more than happy to do these things. It's not a bad thing to ask for help when we need help. And especially to ask for help when we need help from somebody who has more power than us. Somebody who can actually help. So this is really, I think this is going to be your wake-up call where you say, oh, wow, oh my goodness, I've got to change how I'm doing this. I can't try to do it all on my own. I have to get Spirit involved here. Okay. Next up, let's look at Scorpio. Two of Swords in reverse. What's going on here with Scorpios? Is this us or is there somebody else having this explosion? Scorpios, we're getting to witness somebody else having an explosion because they feel like they've been putting up with something for a very long time. And finally, the last cherry has hit the top of the cake and now they can't take it anymore. All right. Now, what happens when this explosion comes in is I think it makes us feel really confused. I really kind of get the impression that this person may be actually exploding at us. And I get the impression that we had no idea that this was brewing. No idea. And the way this comes up, this person would not have given any indication that this is coming either, because they're trying to pretend that everything's cool when it's not. So they haven't given any indication. They haven't given any warning symbols. You know, there's not been any lights on the dashboard saying we have trouble. And then all of a sudden we have the engine exploding here. Okay. So not literally, just as a symbolic example. You've got a person that hasn't been saying, hey, something's got to give here. Hey, I need a change. Hey, this isn't working for me. They're not saying any of that. They're just trying to pretend everything's okay. And why do people do that? A lot of times people do that because they don't want to offend us. They don't want to hurt us. Maybe they're afraid that we're going to go away if they say they're having a problem. And so whatever's been going on here, there's some reason why they have felt like they haven't been able to be really open with us about something. Okay. And with that Two of Swords showing up in reverse, I think the whole situation has us completely confused and befuddled. We're just, where did this come from? You know, this is the time to start asking those questions like, where did this come from? Why are you so upset? What has been contributing to this? When did this start? When did this start becoming a problem? So that we can actually get to the root of the problem and figure out what needs to change here. Because by the time this person explodes, that may not be so clear. Because it's a residual thing. Okay? All right, so that's for Scorpios. Next up, let's look at Sagittarius. Let's see if theirs has anything to do with Pentacles. Nope. Okay. Different than the other fire signs. Five of Cups showing up in reverse for Sagittarius. Is this Sagittarius or somebody else having this? Okay, so Sagittarius, you've got somebody in your sphere of influence who is losing their stuff, man. They are reacting to something that has happened today and also for a long time back. Lots of different incidences that they've been trying to pretend, oh, it's okay, it's fine, it's all right, don't worry, no worries. And they've just had it. They can't handle anymore. Cannot handle anymore. Okay? And then with this Five of Cups coming up in reverse for you, this is interesting because how this plays out is this is actually a relief for you. This allows you to understand them a little bit more. So what's interesting here, Sagittarius, is I think that you've been kind of looking at this person and wondering, how come you're not saying anything about this? I don't think they're exploding at you, but I think that you've been worried about them. You've been worried about them taking stuff and taking stuff and taking stuff and putting up with it and acting like it's all fine. And now whenever they have their meltdown, like you're like, okay, thank goodness you still have some self-esteem and you still have some sanity. Whew, we can work with that. That's what I think is going on for you, Sagittarius. Next up, we have Capricorn. Ace of Swords showing up in reverse. Do, 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 do. Capricorn, I think you're trying to warn somebody that they are about to trigger a meltdown from somebody else. With that Ace of Swords, you're passing along good advice or information. I think you see a meltdown coming, and I think you're trying to kind of step in the middle and stop the person who's about to trigger it from actually triggering it. Good luck. I don't see that other person listening to you. Better to get out of the way. That way you can't be associated with this person whenever our person over here has a meltdown. All right, next up, let's look at Aquarius. Aquarius. Two of Cups coming up in reverse for Aquarius. Aquarius, you've got somebody in your sphere of influence who is having a total emotional volcanic explosion. And I think that this totally takes you by surprise. And I think that after this explosion, you just don't see them the same way. Where before you were attracted to them, now you're like, nope, thank you. Don't want to be around you. Don't really agree with your ethics. Next up, we're looking at Pisces. Four of Pentacles coming up in reverse for Pisces. Pisces, are you guys being the drama kings or the drama queens this time around? Four of Pentacles, along with that overall energy, Pisces, you are having a volcanic emotional explosion. You're not only reacting to what's going on today, but to what's been going on several times before this. It's all built up, and so now it looks like an overreaction. As it's coming out, it's actually reacting to so much stuff. Now, Pisces, with that Four of Pentacles in reverse, you're putting extra energy into this. Like, you're really putting extra energy into this explosion. You don't care who sees, you don't care who knows, you don't care what bridges you burn. You have had it to the point that people will know that you're just over it. There will be no doubt. You will make sure there is no doubt. Really interesting and unexpected to show up on a Pisces read, because you guys are known for being generally avoidant of any kind of confrontation. This is the opposite of that. Okay, you may not exactly be confronting somebody, but this meltdown, for people to witness this is rough. Let's just put it that way. This is rough, and you're just feeding the fire. Like, when it first starts, that's not the end of it. A lot of times these meltdowns, they come out really fast and really hard and really hot, and then they cool, and the person can become more open to the idea of talking about things. Whew, I think it's going to be a while before yours cools, before you're open to the idea of logic. With that Four of Pentacles in reverse, you are pouring energy into this thing, man. You're not trying to calm it down or cool it down. You're feeling very enthusiastic about expressing it. All right, well, that's all I have to say. We're going to stop right there. All I would say is just going to go along with that. All right, well, anyway, thank you guys very much for being here today with me. I do appreciate all of your support. Please remember, put a thumbs up on this video if you found it helpful. Also, share it with others who may find it helpful as well. Put some comments down below. I am looking forward to reading for some of you later on the phone or online, and the rest of you, I'll see back on the next video. Peace out.